Okay, welcome to the latest series of Tales of Blue, where I'm delighted to be joined by a three-time Supporters Club Young Player of the Year, 1984-85 promotion winner, 1986 Wembley goal scorer, and a former Blue who's experienced no less than 6 managers during his time at Main Road. Steve Kinsey, how are you doing?
Fine, and thank you for the introduction. Very nice. Brings back a lot of memories already right there.
And that was an absolute pleasure, Steve. So, Steve, Manchester born and born of Blue. What are Steve Kinsey's early City-related memories?
Born into a Blue family, started going to watch City earliest time I can remember, 5 years old. My brother would take me to the games and just loved it. And then when we couldn't afford a ticket, we'd be outside the ground waiting for the last 15 minutes till people started coming out of the Kippax, and we could go up the steps there to catch the last 10 minutes. Loved it.
Which players did a young Steve Kinsey pretend to be growing up playing football on the streets of Manchester?
Do you know the funny thing is it's going to be the usual ones, because Colin Bell was my idol at the time, but always tried to emulate him. Franny Lee, Mike Summerby, but the thing is that it was my brother who I really wanted to be like. My brother didn't make it. He had trials at Stockport, didn't make it. Wrong time. It's not always about being the best. You got to be there.
Is that an older brother, Steve? Was he an older brother?
Yeah, he's 7 years older than me. Anthony is, and great player. And I learned so much from him. I mean, basically every sport that I ever play is because of him. Yeah. So I really did look up to him, and he taught me a lot. But definitely the usual, Colin Bell was my idol, and Franny Lee, Mike Summerby. But just loved watching football. I did.
So you were part of a very successful youth policy at Main Road during the late 70s, which saw a number of players go on to play in the first team, the likes of Alex Williams, Andy May, Clive Wilson. How did you arrive at Main Road, Steve? What was your route that took you to the City youth team?
Well, I think it all came through, playing for Manchester boys and getting picked up from there, starting to go to training there on a Tuesday, Thursday nights, and school holidays. And basically from then it was, going to every trial that you possibly could get, with City. Anytime they had anything, you had to go there, you had to compete, and hopefully you could keep progressing. And they asked me to sign schoolboys when I was 14. So, which was a dream come true.
Absolutely. So, what about
they actually gave me a pair of boots as well, and my first Adidas pair.
You always remember your first pair of boots.
Well, my first pair of boots, my mum bought me from the market. I remember them because they were called Dart. And she bought them from the market. I remember playing for the school team. We played on a shale pitch, but I was determined to wear my screw-in studs.
Yes. So tell us about the early Main Road life as a young, or apprentice as you call it then. Who was in charge of the youth lads at City then, and how were you treated by the first teamers when you used to interact with them?
Well, Steve Fleet really did believe in me with the youth team. And somebody needs to really believe in you, so you can have a bad game and they're still going to continue to play. But so Steve was great. Dave Ewing at the time was the reserve team manager. Big Dave, and a big Scottish centre half actually liked me, and which is super. Glimpardo was there, and they were actually very, very encouraging. They would tell you to obviously go out there and work hard, but to go and enjoy yourself.
So at that time, Steve, what's something you could you could never do as an apprentice at that time? And do you recall any apprentices who may have overstepped the mark because they were kept away from the first team apprentices, and you had to earn the right in those days to get near the first team or even go in the first team dressing room?
Absolutely. You'd be in with the youth team and the reserve team players in the dressing room, and the only time really you went into the dressing room, to the first team dressing room, was to, you know, to pick their kit up, which they'd throw all over the floor. We had a big skip, but for some of the players never there. They just throw it on the floor. And obviously, we were cleaning the boots as well. So we'd go in there and put the boots out as well. I always remember not doing Joe Corrigan's boots the way I should have been doing them. And he come in to the boot room and he was playing around, but he hit me on the arm so hard. I couldn't even move for about a week, my right arm.
He's not a little fella by any means, is he, Joe Corrigan?
No, honestly. It's like being hit by bloody Mike Tyson, believe me.
You were part of the first ever City youth side to beat local rivals United in the Youth Cup when we knocked them out of the 79-80 FA Youth Cup semi-final with a 3-1 home leg victory, which followed the 0-0 first leg. You opened the scoring in that game. What are the memories of that game and the spirit among the young City players at the time?
Well, obviously, it's, you know, City United, isn't it? I mean, I always look for City's score all the time. I watch that, and then United, and hopefully I see them that they've lost. You know, I still feel the same way now. But, you know, just the joy of beating United. It's always a great feeling.
The City would appear in 2 cup finals, 78, 79, 79, 80 FA Youth Cup finals. Fortunately, we lost both to Millwall and Aston Villa. What do you call about those sides, them cup runs, Steve? Is a good...
Great. I mean, one thing about us, we played some good football as well. But, you know, like I said, it's always about timing. And, you know, at the time we were producing a lot of good players. And it's a lot easier playing on, you know, teams when you're surrounded with good players, you know, then they're going to make you look better.
Because at least 6 or 7 of them lads went on to play in the first team.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So you've always got a chance. You're playing with quality players. And like I said, that helps you. Then hopefully you can progress from there to get into the reserve team, and then try and push on from there.
Was there any players in that youth team set up, Steve, that didn't go on to play for the first team? Ones at the time you perhaps thought, well, he's a player, he's going to go on and have a good career, but maybe didn't and sort of fell away. That sort of stand out, stick in your memories.
We had a midfield player there called probably Ross McGinn. I thought Ross may have done a little bit more. Played in the youth team, played in the midfield, but I thought he may have gone on and do a bit more, and he didn't.
So who do you recall having the most influence on a young Steve Kinsey? Which first team players did you sort of look up to in them early days?
Looked up to in the early days. Well, when I signed apprentice there, and like I said, having watched them and been a fan, you know, and you've got pictures up on your wall, and the next minute you're in the changing room with them. It's pretty surreal. I mean, I was very lucky at the time when, I mean, Malcolm Allison was there, and I was very lucky with Malcolm that at that time Malcolm was even thinking of putting me in the first team, and because the youth team had done so well. But I looked up to, you know, all the players then. I really did. I mean, Asa Hartford was always great with me. You know, Dennis Stewart was. Willie Donachie, extremely. He was great with the young lads.
Your progression to the first team sees you make your debut on the 18th of April, 1981, in the 3-1 away win at Wolves. When did you find out you'd be playing, and what were your standout memories of your performance that day?
Well, just going back, because when John Bond got the manager's job, I told you there was talk of me playing when Malcolm was there, that he was going to put me in the first team. So when he got the sack, John Bond came in and he watched the youth team, and at half time he came in and he says, "Who's Steve Kinsey?" And I put my hand up, and I'd actually played well in the first half. And he says, "You keep performing like that, you'll never play for me in the first team."
Wow.
So it was very interesting, and thank goodness, 8 months later, he played me in the first team.
Yeah. Nothing like a bit of a confidence boost from the new
No,
manager.
and that's exactly when I was sat there. I was thinking, bloody hell, I've played well.
After that start at Wolves, you had to wait until Boxing Day 1982 for your second start, which came in City's first victory at Anfield in 28 years at the time in a 3-1 win. Not a lot's changed, has it really? But I mean, that game was watched by a crowd of almost 40,000 fans watched that. What do you recall that fixture, Steve? The atmosphere, the day?
Yeah, just let me get back to the Wolves. What I remember about my debut as well is being absolutely shattered. That's what I do remember on that. I was shattered.
So when did you know you were playing? When did you know that would be the day?
You find out, it was about, it was at the pre-match meal, which was probably, 1.5 hours, 2 hours before the game. And then the Liverpool game, and another story as well, a John Bond classic. Obviously it wasn't somebody who boosted my confidence too much. I remember probably 1.5 hours before the game as well, he said, Steve, I'm leaving out Martin O'Neill. I'm going to put Jerry Gow on the bench. And but Steve, I'm playing you, but you're at your crossroads in your career. And I thought, dear me, there's another confidence booster for me. And Liverpool, to play at Liverpool with the team that they used to have at the time was, champions of Europe and everything. That was, it's a dream to play there against them. I mean, Kenny Dalglish was always one of my favourite players. And to be on the same field as them was great. But really enjoyed the day. And we played really well and had a great 3-1 win. Except for Phil Thompson. I would have scored my first goal there. So still have flashbacks thinking what my career could have been.
At that crossroads point. So loan spells at Chester and Chesterfield followed before you became more involved in the first team during the second half of the 81-82 campaign. How did you feel your City career was starting to progress at this early stage, despite the constant changes around at management level, which was something continued throughout your time at City?
Yes, it did, yeah. It's actually, through my career, it's been one of those managers. Maybe it's me, managers keep getting fired. But no, I think it wasn't until like Billy McNeil got in there where I really started getting a proper run as well. Who was, he was always good with me. So no complaints there, and enjoyed every minute of it.
As you say, we've got Allison, Book, Bond, Benton, McNeil and Frizzell all passed through the main road hot seat under you. Which manager would you say left the best impression on you and the one you probably had the best relationship with?
Well, like I said, I would have enjoyed it more when I was apprentice if Big Mal would have stayed there, because he really believed in me. But after picking those, obviously, even so, John Bond was always pretty negative with me. Always grateful for him giving me my City debut. But I'd have to say Billy McNeil.
Yeah. But 82-83 season slip out the first division after a disastrous last day of season defeat at home to Luton when we needed just a point to stay up. You did appear from the bench that afternoon, but how now, looking back, you feel went wrong that campaign, Steve?
Obviously, hey, the table doesn't lie, does it? We just weren't good enough. That's how it comes down to. I think John Benson was in charge at the time, I think, wasn't he, when we went down?
Yes, yeah.
And I think he put me on. He went, go and get me a goal. I'm like, yeah, I wish you would have given me, 15 minutes at least.
So following relegation, we had a transitional period during 83-84. There was a high turnover of players at City. Mainly Scottish players came in under Billy McNeil. But City were returned to the first division with a spectacular last day of the season, 5-1 victory over Charlton. What are your memories of that packed afternoon at Main Road in May 1985?
Oh, it was a great day. Great day. We played really well. We were actually really confident. I remember that we just sought to get out there and get into it, and we did straight from the start. And we had some really good performances from everybody. We all did our part that day. And the atmosphere after the game, I remember, the fans coming onto the field, and it was something I'll never forget.
There was quite a few more in Main Road than actually reported that day. I think the attendance was reported along.
I think
the
it was
lines
always like that at City. I'd always feel like we'd have like, maybe, it's all, sometimes I'd go, there's got to be 35,000 there, and then I come back and it say 25. I was like,
yeah. Less said. So, who do you recall as the standout players for the team in that 84-85 promotion campaign?
Besides myself,
yeah, you were at a crossroads.
Standout performances. Then obviously it was, Big Mick was tremendous at the back, and really, he was a leader of men. But like I says, we all did our part, to get us. I mean, Dave Phillips scored some wonder goals, but and I played up front, and I had, one or two players that I played up front with as well.
Yeah. The 41 appearances during that season was by far your best return in the first team. Did you now feel you were an established first team player? And how did you see the future going with the imminent return to the first division?
The funny thing is, I could see with Billy at the time, I think it was just time for me to move on. I could see that, they were looking at going different ways, and I've been there a long time as well. So, I wasn't surprised, one or two teams had come in for me, and, I was thinking, well, I might as well go rather than keep playing in the reserves, because once you've tasted the first team, you really don't want to keep going back and playing in the Central League at that time. Even so, it was, a really good league.
Well, we lost a few senior players going back into the first division. So David Phillips went, Mark Lillis went, Paul Power went off to Everton. Did you recall thinking we might struggle and it might be time you moved on?
Yeah, I think, it wasn't like I asked to go. I mean, it basically got to that point where Billy McNeil come in and says, hey, there's a couple of teams that have come in for you. You're really not going to be playing. You're not in the future plans. So if somebody says that to you, I think it's time to get out.
Well,
Never even considered coming to America. I thought I was going to sign for Birmingham. Ron Saunders, I was on the phone with him, and my favourite position I always thought was playing down the middle and breaking either wide or to left and right and just floating around up front. But I was on the phone with Ron, and he said to me, Steve, I can see your best position is right hand side midfield. And I'm like, well, that says enough. I'm not going to Birmingham.
Was there any other options, Steve, apart from Birmingham, to stay in English football?
At that time, I think just before then, I think Oldham had come in for me. But and the Crystal Palace, they were interested. And then the opportunities came to come to America. So
can you remember your last City appearance?
Do you know what? Was it against, I don't know, was it Arsenal maybe?
It was Arsenal, 5th of April 1986.
There you go, well done.
But I must backtrack a little bit, Steve. I'm asked you about a crazy weekend in March 1986. City played twice in a weekend. A Manchester derby on the Saturday, followed by a trip to Wembley on the Sunday in the full Members' Cup final. You opened the scoring in that game, which turns out to be a crazy 5-4 defeat, which possibly went on a little bit longer. We might have an equaliser. Yeah. But what are your memories of that weekend?
I remember us coming back from 2-0 down. Obviously, love to play at Old Trafford. In a Manchester derby, that's like a dream, isn't it, for anybody to want to play in that when you're so tied to Manchester. So coming back from 2-0, remember my ankle was absolutely killing me. That's what I remember. And just after the game, it was like, right, let's go. And we're on our way to Wembley. And there was no way I was going to miss playing. No way.
Did you travel down after the derby, or did you go down?
Straight after it, yeah.
Stayed over, obviously, Saturday evening.
Straight after, yeah. I mean, I was, you're shattered. You just played 90 minutes, then you've got, whatever the drive time was, 3 hours to get down there. you know, you go to bed, you know, you're not going to sleep that well after a game anyway. And then you're up thinking about the game. But the adrenaline just takes over. And, you know, once I got on the field, I couldn't even feel, you know, I told him my ankle was killing me. I just played on. Played well. I enjoyed the game. I think it's the worst thing I could have done, scoring.
It was a big crowd, wasn't it, for that particular tournament?
Great crowd.
It was 54,000.
Great crowd, great atmosphere, and a dream to score at Wembley.
Absolutely.
You know, and it was Mick McCarthy who lashed the ball across for me to score. You know, what was it? 6-yard tapping.
Oh,
great goal, though.
I doubt Mick got many assists.
Oh, he got one. That I'm definitely giving him that one.
But how does Steve Kinsey now look back on his time at Man City? How do you sum that up, Steve?
Loved it. Loved everything about it. Like I said, from when I first started going there as a schoolboy, I loved it. Everything about it. You know, I just remember, you know, we always worked really hard. Every training session, everything. I felt like we were in the red zone. I really thought we trained too hard at times.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because some of the pictures as well. I mean, even the training fields were just.
The players wouldn't come out. The players would refuse to come out now, wouldn't they? Some of the pitches. They wouldn't come out.
They would come out and play that, and that's always the point, is it? Could some of those players today play on those fields?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I remember when we were playing at Liverpool. I remember I was running with the ball, and you're just waiting for it to get on a nice, just a little bit of nice bit of grass
for the ball to level out.
Yeah.
But you're still obviously a big City fan, Steve. How do you see the 2021 season going for the current Man City team?
Well, you've asked me now, what are we in three games into it? So, but I think City will be up there again. You know, they've got all the quality, haven't they? So they'll be up there again. You know, the good thing about City, they create so many chances. And if you create chances,
the Steve Kinsey up top to put some of them away.
I tell you, I'd love to play when you've got players like City's midfield passing you the ball, and they could only make me better.
Absolutely. Steve, I've got some quick fire one-answer questions here for you. So, best player you played with at City?
I'd have to say overall, Dennis Stewart.
I would have put my money on you saying Trevor Francis, but that's a good call.
I tell you, but overall player, Dennis, and Dennis helped me more than Trevor.
Good stuff. Favourite City shirt you played in?
Oh, that's a good one. Favourite City shirt? Seriously, that's a good one, mate.
You got 82, 83. 84, 85. Obviously, you played in quite 5 or 6 shirts.
Exactly.
As many shirts as you had managers, I think.
Yeah, and I always say, as long as it had a number on between 2 and 11, it would have been that shirt. You know, I like it's hard to say. Always the home, and I love the black and red stripe one as well.
Favourite City goal?
Favourite City goal? Tell you something, I might have to say Wembley, just because it was there.
Okay, brilliant. Favourite away ground?
Favourite away ground? Anfield.
Colin Bell or David Silva?
Oh shoot! Well, I'd have to say Colin Bell, just because I actually I think I played in a reserve game or a testimonial game with him, and he's my hero.
Kinsey or Aguero?
Oh, absolutely Kinsey.
Main Road or the Etihad?
Oh, Main Road. It's still got the best atmosphere.
Right, true or false? You were once punched by Pele.
Once punched. False.
I read that somewhere. I thought I've got to ask to clear that up. Right. So, what's Steve Kinsey of 2020 up to? And how do you get to watch City games where you're based now?
Well, I mean, first I'll answer the one about the City games. We probably get more games on TV than you guys do. You know, so if I don't watch them here at my house, you know, if I want to be around all the English lads, I'll just go down to the pub and watch it with them.
So where are you based now, Steve? Looking out behind you. It's
yeah, still in Florida, and Pompano Beach, just down the road from Fort Lauderdale. And I've been doing, you know, after I finished playing, I did my, you know, my soccer camps, and then after that, I sort of like got a real job. Got involved in general contracting, doing business development, project management for companies.
So did you get home? Did you get home much?
I have been over the last 4 years. I've been getting back a lot more. Yeah.
Steve, it's been an absolute real pleasure to talk to you and share your tales of blue. We wish you all the very best, friend.
Thanks very much. Really enjoyed it.